Well, it was another great week of qualifiers here at the Meadows for us. Now, not without its complications, but most definitely a great day of qualifying. Obviously, a lot on the line today, maybe quietly behind the scenes. Maybe you guys weren't paying attention. Maybe you weren't partners on some of the horses where these timelines did make a big difference. Gypsy Hill has a race next week, a stake race. The first Buckeye is next week. Trying to get him straightened out. Flashfly has a series coming up, right? Has her first stallion series coming up. Now, he had a little bit of time, but not really, because she was entrapped the other day training and was still entrapped today, which is so weird because she qualified pretty good, trained pretty good. But as Dr. Brown said, she has to be better if we fix her. So there was that. There was obviously everything surrounding Pickpocket, with so many different storylines and timelines of 2024 and what was going on and what we were going to do with them, our hopes, our wants, quite frankly, our dreams. Where does that leave us with Pickpocket? How is he going to qualify today? Get up this morning. I got up this morning and went to the barn. I went to the barn and it's apple juice, by the way. I'm not driving down the road drinking a beer with 5 horses on the back. No, I'm not. And then we got to talk about who's on the back. What's going on with them? So got up this morning. First task was Greatest Endings Blood come back. A couple of points were up, but nothing major. Now, very telling was Tim had said he had hit his arm the other day. So this is important. For any of you that watch Greatest Ending, he's got this big, huge, high gait. Very rare for a pacer. And especially when he's free-legged, you can't help but watch it. And from sitting behind him, you're almost in awe watching this horse, this big, powerful animal with this giant gait, zip over the ground without any issue. But racing is different. Race Greatest first start, second start he bled. Put him on Lasix. I was very, very hopeful of the other day. Now, he raced poorly. I said, Tim, Greatest Ending has 4 triggers. Almost in order. Feet, tying up, which I believe run hand in hand, bleeding, and his liver count. Remember, we had to stop with him not that long ago because of an extraordinarily high GGT. It's since come down and is well below normal, so we're fine that way. Get his blood back. Old tie-up at 900. Really, for him, that would be normal. So it wasn't tie-up. He didn't bleed. Obviously, he was on Lasix. And he scoped clean. And his GGT was 24. The level here is 0 to 36, so well within the norm. So it casts a pretty big spotlight on the one problem it must have been. When you remove all of the things that bother this horse that we have to stay on top of, that Tim and his team did stay on top of, the only thing left is the most obvious, and that's his feet. Tim said, well, we did shoe him this week, so he was shod, and then his feet seemed good going into the race. They took care of them. He didn't appear mechanically to be out of sorts, but when you look at him, step back and look at him as a horse, throwing his head, looks agitated. I talked to the young man that drove him, Justin Walters. He said, Anthony, I scored him down on the pace. He was fine. I was going up the gate and somebody turned in front of me, so I stopped him. When I stopped him, he swung to the trot, and I had a real trouble getting him back to the pace. Well, that's telling right there in its own right. Why wouldn't a horse that is a pacer switch back onto the pace very easily going to the gate? It's not like a trotter the other way around. Quite different. Should be one of the simplest things to do is to switch a free-legged pacer onto the pace going to the gate. It's not a guarantee. I mean, it's not always easy. It's not a slam dunk, but it's very telling when you look at the entire issue. He didn't switch back onto the pace because he wasn't feeling up to it. He wasn't feeling up to it because I think his feet were killing him. And you can do what you want with the horse. He has chronic bad feet. That is his trigger. I think it is the trigger to tying up. I think it is the trigger to him bleeding. sore feet, high stress. And then when you factor that in with what the young man told me, that he couldn't get him back onto the pace and ended up missing the gate, well, and sprinkle on the way he was acting in the race, throwing his head the whole way. He was agitated. He was stressed out. He didn't want to play. So, he's on the back. He's coming home right now. We're going to take him back to Northfield Park. Going to work on him for the next week and put him in next week. We'll put him in to go somewhere. I don't want to race him at Northfield, but I might want to get a start in him. I was a little disappointed. The kid missed the gate. Who gives a shit? He missed the gate, but they give him an X. I guess if you're running way back and then you miss the gate, you have to get an X, I guess. It's unfortunate. Anyway, back on track for now. I jogged great ascending. Jogged fine. He had hit over his knee and up on his arm. He's done this before, and he does this when his feet are sore. So everything is pointing to his feet being a problem. You have the 4 or 5 marks up on his arm, which is extremely hard to get to. You have these 4 or 5 marks up on his arm that he has. Right? He's a little bit swollen now. You had the agitation in the race. You have the fact that he wouldn't swing onto the pace going to the gate. It all points to, as I said, him being a little uncomfortable going to the gate the other day. So we'll try and get him under control, back going. That was the first thing I did today. I was happy with the way he jogged. He was fine. Trained Arson today. 2 minutes last quarter and 27-3, just like chopping sticks. He was awesome. Very, very, very good heading into Saturday's first start of the year. Scoped him, scoped clean. You'll see a trend. The lower stress animals that are a little more easygoing, unless they're by a sire who's known to throw horses that bleed easily, and there are some of those, or maybe it's in their family. But if you just have a horse that's chilled, relaxed, laid back, they're less likely to bleed, right? And Urson, although he is a hyper little bugger sometimes, he enjoys his work and he's good at it. And when he's in the zone, when he's doing his work well, man, he's on point. 27-3 felt like 31 seconds in the bike. He was awesome. So he's in to go Saturday, ready to rock. So now we're getting our horses warmed up. First one to go with, Pickpocket, ran all over the track warming up, adjusting his hobbles, tinkering with his gear. What the hell is wrong with Pickpocket this morning? I get him to a place where he's comfortable, but now he's warmed up hard. This will play a role later on in this video. Get him warmed up hard. He's warmed up. So now he's in, he empties out, he's starting to cool out, whatever. We go with Widespread Panic. Little Bully, strong in the face, but that's on the menu. He's always been like that. But warmed up good. Flashfly warms up very good. Now here's the thing with Flashfly. I trained her last week and she was entrapped. We've had this issue. Pickpocket was entrapped and we had to have him fixed. He's fine. We had to have Lonely Lakewood fixed. He's fine. I don't understand why that's happening or not. I don't know. You're talking about a very complex component in the horse is the breathing apparatus at the top of their throat. But Flashfly, much like Pickpocket, you would never know there was anything wrong. Never made a peep, not a noise, not a muffle, nothing. Just perfect breathing wise. Anyway, I talked to Dr. Latessa and said, listen, her first stake race is May the 10th. If I can get her qualified, that would give us time to fix this entrapment on the same timeline as Lonely Lakewood had. And he said, yep. So I called Dr. Brown also, and both Dr. Latessa and Dr. Brown agreed that the horse could qualify. Qualified her this morning. She was great. One of her old partners was the one that beat me at the wire. But she was coming to everybody at the wire. She looked very, very good. In fact, quite frankly, maybe one of the best miles she's ever gone. 59-1, right about where she was ready to go. Last half at 57 and a piece. She was good. She was real good. Tomorrow morning she leaves the Meadows. I left her. Tomorrow morning she leaves the Meadows and she goes to Brown Clinic to have that entrapment fixed, cleaned up. Away we go. So now we go. I warm up Gypsy Hill, another huge timeline horse. Oh my God. He had to qualify. The last thing I want to do is have him make a break today, then, drag him back to Northfield Park and say, I guess we can try and qualify him Thursday. That would be a debacle. Warmed up. He warmed up good. I warmed up good last week, but he warmed up better today. Felt confident. This was Gypsy Hill, and I told you guys last week, this was all mental with him. Rinse and repeat, pour the work to him over the night. I thought it would take 2 weeks. He's smarter than I thought. Didn't take 2 weeks at all. It took 7 days from qualifier to qualifier, so 5 days of working hard. And he was all business today. All business. We'll talk about him at the end. So we start with Pickpocket. I look at the entry sheet of the qualifiers. Oh my God. Adamsville Road is in there. He's made $125,000 as an aged horse last year. Quality animal. Guido D is in there. Quality animal. Ton of really, really good horses in there. And now, not only is there good horses in there, but Pickpocket didn't warm up that good. I take the head pole off him because he felt like he was pinching him a little bit in the turn. Went to a line pole and a Murphy blind on the inside. But I know better than to add any weight to him. He's a weird bugger. He will not take the weight. So we just left him as is. I went out to post-braid him. Felt great. Different horse. It was like he thought about it. All right, fine, I'll go. Went out and qualify him. He lands in the 4-hole. He's perfect. He's following Adamsville Road. He did feel a little bit agitated in the mile, but he's done that before. He ran away on Todd McCarthy last year in Lexington, so he can do it. I wheel him out in behind Adamsville Road. I should have just pulled a James and stayed. Doesn't matter anyway. Pulled him out behind Adamsville Road, and he finished up right beside him, 56-2, 28-4, last half 56-4. He was awesome, but he did feel a little soft going under the wire. I'm thinking, it's Adamsville Road. You're not talking about a claim. This was a good bunch of horses. And as I was escaping into the 3-hole down the backstretch, I did clip Brady Brown's wheel, flattened it. Not happy. Brady was not happy. That's how we beat Guido D, I guess. We scoped Pickpocket and he bled a little bit. That is very frustrating. As I said, it was a great day at the qualifiers, but it wasn't without its problems. So now what? I knew it. I knew at the wire he bled a little bit, and I think part and parcel was last week's schooler. We scoped him. He didn't bleed, but was he on the brink? I don't know. Was it the warm-up? Oh, this is going on in my head, saying, we warmed him up too hard. Shouldn't have done that. Is that what was bothering him? Was it the mile itself, 56-2? And then, as the prosecution rested in my head, the defense started. Well, you can't warm him up hard without him bleeding. How are you possibly going to race him in the Hamiltonian? How do you think you're going to race him in Kentucky? And if it's a 56 mile, what's he going to do in 50? I don't think that's very fair. So I called Dr. Brown and I talked to him. What are his thoughts? He goes, Anthony, you think he's the first horse that bled that's going to go to Kentucky that was a bleeder on Lasix? You just have to be much more diligent. And that's the one thing that I can say Eric and Kathy are super diligent when it comes to the treatment of the horses, right? Maybe Amy will lend us her Flexi Neb. She had one for White Tiger. We can send a Flexi Neb with him. You just have to be cautious. But I think the start of that protocol would be him going on Lasix for the New Jersey Classic. The New Jersey Sire Stakes coming up on the 12th. He'll have the good times after that. Now, if you're telling me he bled a little bit, 56-2, the first time we asked him to go that speed, getting beat a half a length by an open trotter, I think he's got lots under the hood. And he was trotting good. I didn't even have to have his hobbles on tight today. He was trotting very good. Did everything perfectly. I guess when you dissect all that and you step back, it's really hard for me to believe that he bled a little bit today in the qualifier, that at some point this year he wouldn't have bled, right? Remember, we went through this with 3-point blue chip as a 2-year-old. He had bled just a tiny bit. And we tried to work our way through, and it really, quite frankly, it cost us getting into the Breeders' Crown with him at 2. And then we put him on Lasix. He won the matron, raced well in the Valley Victory, and subsequently injured himself as a 3-year-old. But each horse, what I am learning when it comes to bleeders, when it comes to Lasix, each horse is different, each treatment is different, and just because one works on one doesn't mean it'll work on another. So regardless of all of the stuff we can do, the nebulizer and the homeopathic stuff and the stuff we're allowed to use, aside from all that stuff, we still have pickpocket, right? And I think we have to forge our way forward. Now, knowing he bled today, does it diminish our opportunities to go to the Hamiltonian? Of course it does. Can't race on Lasix in the Hamilton. Can't race on Lasix in Kentucky. So we are going to have to, as I said, be very diligent in how we medically treat pickpocket. He wasn't a bad bleeder at all, but there wasn't a lot of mucus or redness in there. Now he did just have an entrapment fixed 3-4 weeks ago. Did that play a role? Was there more of a strain put on him? It's very possible also. All I can report is what happened. If this was a horse that didn't have to race without Lasix all year, it wouldn't even be worth mentioning. Whatever, who cares? We'll put him on Lasix. Not the end of the world. Fixed. Done. But we will go to New Jersey, race him in the New Jersey Sires on Lasix. We'll race him in the good times on Lasix. And then we'll see. We'll see how easy it is to treat him for the rest of the summer. We'll go from there. Now, you will note that I omitted the Hamiltonian. I suspect there's a lot of things that have to go on between now and when the Hamiltonian will roll along. A ton of stuff. So I'm not saying he would not be entered. Listen, he still has to trot fast. He still has to go and trot in 51, 52, 53 for us to start talking about the Hamiltonian. We're not going to start talking about it off a qualifier in 56 anyway. But it's worth talking about. And I guess that's where we're at. That's where we're at with all this. So, there. That was one of the complications from today. The other one, obviously, I'd already talked about in Flash Fly. Having to go get that entrapment fixed. But the timeline is good. I was happy with her attitude. I was happy with her gait. Really happy with both those horses. Just a little disappointed to see some of the red stuff in pickpocket, but it's not the end of the world. Now, the other two, Widespread Panic. I told you he trained hard on Friday. I didn't know what to expect. He's the type of horse, when he clamps down on his jaw and he wants to pull, really difficult to get him under control. He's like a big steamroller. But he will, when he's trotting along, he will let you control him. He's smart enough to do that. I got away safe. I kind of kept him off the gate. Got away third. The horse in the 2-hole made a break. Horse in the front was all done down the backstretch. Now, what I did not want to do was break rule number 1, especially with a maiden that I didn't know. I did not want to, let the horse on the front collapse a little bit, let somebody get to my outside, have him run up on top of Dave Pallone and make a break. I would have blown a gasket if that had happened. So I just moved him over and he dusted them. 59-1, 29 apiece. He looked very good. I was extremely happy with Widespread Panic. Everything about him. Now the tricky part. We're gonna have to do some juggling on Friday's draw. I'm supposed to be in Miami Valley. Don't know if I can go for I'm Fancy Like and Purple People Eater. I guess Sedona, if we still have her, for the new owners. I don't know if I can go there. We'll see. Because we are entering Pull the Shoes in the now. Pull the Shoes going in the maiden claimer. One of our clients say, she'll be claimed. Okay, fill your boots. If that's what you want to do, I guess. I'm not that worried about it. Vaquero Blue Chip also is going to find his way into a claiming condition type race. I had one of my partners say, did we find out what was wrong with him? His blood work came back. His liver was a little high. He had some old tie up there. There was some stuff there. Was there enough for him to race the way he did? Not that I could see. So, if we can't get to the races faster, we're going to have to find some slower ones. For now, anyway. I'm hoping that the Vaquero Blue Chip of last year shows up. But we have to race the Vaquero Blue Chip of right now. So he is in the back of the trailer also. Both him and Pull the Shoes are in the back of this trailer. They're both going to be entered at Northfield Park next week. So in the back, we have Greatest Ending. We have Pull the Shoes. We have Vaquero Blue Chip. We have Jason's horse, who come back to the field. PL Jericho. I almost forgot about him 3 times. Thankfully, Tim's staff didn't. I would have left him there. So PL Jericho's in the back. And obviously, Gypsy Hill. I wanted to talk about Gypsy Hill. Warmed him up. He was better. Felt better. I told you guys it just work. He has to. It was, to me, when I tried to dissect last week's break in the qualifier, it just seemed what I was seeing in front of me, what was taking place, it just seemed like it was mental. There was not enough physical things wrong for him to be doing that. So, he made the break on Tuesday. He jogged Wednesday. He trained Thursday. He jogged Friday. Jogged Saturday. And I went a quarter in 28.4 or 29 seconds with him yesterday just to make sure I had all the equipment where I wanted it at Northfield Park. Put him on the trailer and came to the qualifiers today. Warmed him up, and I could tell, warming up, he had his game face on. He was a lot more comfortable. Now, we made a few changes. We went to a bar shoe behind instead of just a little longer shoe. We took the boots off him and put inserts, so it would be the skins of the boots in between a vet wrap roll under it and a vet wrap roll over it. It's a little less weight. And we put 2 sets of bell boots on him up front. Took the knee boots off him also. He had some work to do too. Go fast, don't make a break, don't hit your knee. And try not to chew up your hind end too bad. I could tell coming off the car he was good. Wasn't hot, but I didn't want to put him in a spot where he was doubled up going into the turn. I just let him sail into the turn, kept his head to the left, kept him like too wide, and then let him creep down to the rail with his head kind of kinked over to the left. Trotted through the first turn good, and he started to dog it a bit on the front like he was going to sleep. Very green on the front end, which was fine with me. I didn't want him too hot. You know, the half in a minute and a bit. I let him sail a bit down the backstretch, stretch his legs at the backstretch a bit. He wasn't hitting. He didn't feel I was watching his knees. He wasn't into his knees at all. He was just trotting great. Got to the last turn. I just let him kind of saunter through it, and as Brady Brown caught up to me, you could see him start to grab on a bit, feel good. It was impressive. We got to the head of the lane. I called on him, and he didn't hesitate. Gone. I thought he had me headed. They show me in front by half a length at that lane. I'm pretty sure I was behind by a head. And when we come out of the turn, within the blink of an eye, he had 2 lengths on Brady, and he never stopped. He trotted right through the wire. 29 in the end of it, last half 57 and 1. 29 flat on the end of it. Last half 57 and 1, a 5-length winner in 157 and 4. That was Gypsy Hill. So you get a look, you know, when we talk about all the horses, whether it be qualifiers or training, you guys get a look at all the complexities, all the inner workings, all the moving parts that go into horse racing, right? Pickpocket, look good. 56 and a piece, you know, half a length behind an open trotter, beating another open trotter. I need a flat tire, but whatever. But he bled a little bit. Now what do we do? And then we have Flash Fly. You know, we scope her the other day. She's entrapped. Well, what do we do? Can we sneak her through the qualifier, get that entrapment fixed, and have her ready to go for the first stake race? I think we can. Then Gypsy Hill, break at Northfield, break at the Meadows. Just some minor turns here or there, changing a little bit of the weight up front, changing the shoes just a hair behind, taking the boots off, which you'd never be able to do before. But because he wasn't into his shins behind very hard, he wasn't into his knees anymore at all. Now his shins, so the other reason I like using vet wrap over either those skins, those boots, which we don't use a lot, is to see how much he actually does. You can't, you know, if a front shoe is going to hit vet wrap, it's going to tear it, it's going to gouge it. So you're going to see everything he does. Now he did chew up the upper half of the left hind boot and put 2 puncture holes in the right hind vet wrap over top of that hard shell. but I flinched him afterwards. There was no bruising. There was nothing. Like, I grabbed his leg after we had bathed him. Didn't bother him at all. So he was okay with it, and I think that is really why he qualified. Because we had him to a place where, yes, I am interfering a little bit, but I'm okay with it. And he was all business today. So a great day at qualifiers. It could have been better, but it was a great day at qualifiers across the board. Got to put our thinking caps on when it comes to pickpocket, but that's okay. He's not the first horse to do this. He won't be the last. Got to put our thinking caps on and get him square. Rather than saying he might go to the New Jersey Sires, I think it's more evident now he will show up there on Lasix. And if he goes as well as I hope and think he will race in the good times on Lasix. And that's where the thinking part comes in. Because after that, it's all Kentucky to the Breeders' Crown if we choose to go that route again. Now, all of what I'm just telling you is contingent on him actually being good enough. But that was a hell of a qualifier this morning. He'll race next week on Lasix in the non-winners of 4, the same race that Memory and Imagination is in this coming Friday. We have 4 horses in, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So, most of our power is out and on the go now. Super excited about Memory and Imagination and Arson, and time is on my side this week. So I'm excited about them. We got lots to do Friday, lots to do Saturday, but we got it done. We get all the heavy lifting done. The horses are qualified that need qualified, and now we can start to formulate a true plan for each and every one of them. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I got a 2-hour drive ahead of me. I'm hearing, I knew it was, I couldn't remember if it was tonight or not. We have to race tonight, and it's supposed to rain again. We'll see how that plays out. Maybe we'll luck out. Likely not. I will talk to you all soon. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Take care, and good luck to everybody today and the rest of the week.